Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming tonight. Is this on? Okay, first. Thank you. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you all for coming. It's so nice to see all your faces. I've talked to a lot of you over email, so it's good to finally meet you. So I'm Abby, and I am the chair of the Freedom of Press Committee and the Scholarship Committee. And we're here tonight to celebrate the principles of a free press by recognizing the best in investigative journalism by Japanese and foreign reporters, and also the next generation of journalists. Thank you all for being here. So now, as you all know, in a very uncertain world, journalism is extremely important. And so it's great to see everyone here tonight to celebrate the best work and the future of our field. So I would like to hand off to our president, FCCJ, President Khaldan Azari. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abby. Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Khaldan Azari. I'm the president of this club. I have the honor to be here today. Thank you very much for coming to this very important event. It's officially the 2017 FCCJ Freedom of Press and 2017 Swadesh DeRoy Memorial Scholarship Award Ceremony. I think you know that the late Swadesh DeRoy he was one of our members in the press club, and he helped to establish this scholarship. And today we mixed these two events together, the freedom of press and the scholarship. I would like to thank very much my colleagues in the scholarship committee, led by Abby and David, and also the freedom of press committee, led by also Abby and Bradley Martin and Anthony Rowley, and Robin. There, he's sitting there with the winners. And we would like tonight to just emphasize that the freedom of press is very important. And although we didn't have much time to study or get more participation, but at least it's a good start for our club. We would like to have this event every year from now on. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome again Mr. Robin Harding. Thank you very much again. Robin.
Thank you. My name is Robin Harding. I am the Tokyo Bureau Chief for the Financial Times newspaper. And it is my pleasure tonight to introduce the winners of the award for investigative journalism. It's very rare that there is an investigative story in Japan which forces us as the international media to write multiple stories. But the case of Moritomo Gakuen is one such. It has driven the news agenda in Japan all year and has resulted in extensive reporting in the international media. It's also what I think of as a very fine example of what investigative reporting should be. Not a grand project, but reporting that came out of regular beat journalism, seeing something that didn't look right, and then asking, where did the money go? I'd like to now introduce a short video showing the work of our winners.
It was arguably the biggest story of the year, and it started here at the Asahi Shimbun with the diligent work of two reporters, Haruhiko Yoshimura and Kenta Ijima. In February, they broke the news that Moritomo Gakuen, a Shinto-based school group accused of promoting bigotry against Chinese and Koreans, had received illicit financial favors from Prime Minister Abe's government. Their reporting revealed that the group had bought a piece of state-owned land at a fraction of its value to build a school where First Lady Aki Abe would be honorary principal. The finance ministry defended the sale, saying the school received the discount of roughly 800 million yen because the site required extensive cleanup. But the Asahi Shimbun then obtained photos the government had used to justify the sale price and found there was nothing to justify the huge discount.
それをですね、そうでないということにおいてはですね、具体
The
的に
story was incendiary, and Prime Minister Abe was forced to defend himself in the Diet. Aki Abe resigned from her position at the school and expressed contrition. But she again came under fire when Yasunori Kagawike, the head of the school group, testified that 2 years before she'd given him an envelope stuffed with 1 million yen in cash, a donation, he said, in Prime Minister Abe's name. The next day, Kagawike spoke at the FCCJ and said Mrs. Abe had visited the school 3 times in all, and that he'd planned to show his appreciation by naming the new school in the Prime Minister's honor. In a Facebook post, Mrs. Abe denied ever giving him money. Prosecutors opened a criminal investigation and in June staged overnight raids at Moritomo Gakuen. In a dramatic scene afterward, Kagawike's wife implored the Prime Minister to stop bullying her husband. Then, 2 days later, Kagawike visited Mrs. Abe's Tokyo izakaya, carrying an envelope of cash he said he was trying to return to her. He and his wife were arrested a month later, but the scandal continues to smolder, and the Finance Ministry was hit with a criminal complaint for its role in the sale. The saga has had major political implications for Prime Minister Abe. His approval plunged 10 points following the revelations. Dogged by this scandal and others, he reshuffled his cabinet in August. The Asahi Shimbun reporters who broke the story continue to follow it closely and keep the public informed. For their work on this important story and in advancing the principles of a free and open press, the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan Freedom of the Press Committee is pleased to honor this year's recipients of the Japan Investigative Journalism Award, Mr. Haruhiko Yoshimura and Mr. Kenta Ijima. Something groundbreaking is happening. Something groundbreaking.
And could our winners or their representatives please join me on the stage? Yeah. And we have one for Mr. Ijima as well, which I would also like to give to you. Thank you. Thank you. In that, I'd like to hand on to the presenter of the next award. Oh, good to give some remarks. Okay.
This way.
大阪府の河内の出身で、今日は大阪から伺いました。このような、栄誉な賞をいただき、本当に嬉しく思っています。
I've come from Osaka this evening, and it is a great honor to receive this kind of an award and a prize from the Correspondents Club.
当時豊中支局小学校の建設されていた豊中支局にいたんですが、財務省が国有地の売却価格を非公表にして、なぜ非公表にしているかという説明も取材に対して明らかにしませんでした。
I was in the Toyonaka area when this event took place and was involved in the investigation. It was revealing that the Ministry of Finance would not disclose the reasons, the fact that there was a reduction in price, but also the reasons that that reduction in price took place, and they would not answer questions in that regard.
その財務省の不可解な対応が僕の素朴ななぜ説明できないんだろうという素朴な疑問と、これはおかしいだろうという 記者としての怒りに火をつけました。
The inability or the refusal of the Ministry of Finance to answer that very simple question caused the flame of my passions as a journalist to rise up. Why they could not, and something must be amiss if they are not able to disclose that information.
籠池康則理事長は大阪地検特捜部に逮捕されましたが、彼は国会で証人喚問に応じたのですが、逮捕されましたが、一方で国有地の売却価格がなぜあんなにプライスダウンされたのかという真相は今一つはっきりしていません。
Although the chairman of the board, as you know, has been arrested in the meantime, he had given testimony in the Diet, and despite that testimony, it is not certain, even to this date, the rationale or the reasons for that enormous discount of price.
これからも同僚の記者とともに、取材を頑張っていきたいと思います。ありがとうございました。
I want to express my appreciation, but also say that we, my colleagues and I, will continue to investigate until this case is fully disclosed. Thank you very, very much. Oh, okay. That's all right.
同僚の飯島記者がちょっと海外に赴任してまして、出席できませんでしたので、代わりに、受賞コメントを代読いたします。
Although my colleague in receiving this award, Mr. Ijima, has been posted overseas, I understand, to the United Kingdom, and cannot be here, I'd like to read remarks that he's prepared for this evening.
ジャパンインベスケティブジャーナリズムアワードの受賞を心から名誉に感じます。
I am deeply appreciative from my heart to have been selected to receive the Japan Investigative Award this evening.
今年2月に最初の記事を書いて以降、多くの新聞やテレビ、雑誌でも森友学園の問題が取り上げられました。
Since we broke the story in February of this year, there have been countless newspaper articles, television reportages, and news about the Morimoto Gakuen, and that continues to this day.
国会でも連日安倍晋三首相をはじめ政府に説明を求める展開が続きました。
For a very long time, there were multiple instances in Parliament in which the government of Prime Minister Abe was called to provide testimony with regard to this incident.
一連の広がりから私はフリーダム・オフ・プレスが日本で確かに機能していると感じ、インベスティゲーティブ・ジャーナリズムの力を再認識しました。
Throughout this, I came to realize that freedom of the press is alive and well in Japan. It exists and it is alive and well. And the role of investigative journalism is a very important one.
今回の受賞は今後の取材活動においてさらなる励みになります。改めて御礼を申し上げます。ありがとうございました。飯島健太。
The receipt of this award this evening will encourage us to continue our efforts in investigative journalism. I want to repeat my heartfelt appreciation for a receipt of this award from the Foreign Correspondents Club, written by Mr. Ijima. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is this not on? Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. All right, thank you. And it's not on?
It's on.
Okay.
A little closer.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Our next award is for the supporter of the free press. And this one went to journalists who have not only created an entirely new investigative venture, which, as I think we can all appreciate, is no small feat, but they also train young journalists in how to do independent reporting, which is obviously also extremely important. So I've been watching their progress over the past couple of years, and it's just been very impressive. So can we show the video about exactly what they've been doing? Yeah, this is Waseda.
Is happening on the leafy campus of Waseda University. Japan's first university-based center for investigative journalism is now training the next generation of independent reporters. The Institute for Journalism was established 2 years ago, along with its publication, the Waseda Chronicle, which has already broken major stories. Last year, the Chronicle's editor-in-chief, Makoto Watanabe, pursued a lead that Dentsu, one of Japan's biggest advertising agencies, was paying for flattering news coverage. And he was right. His team's 10-month investigation revealed that a Dentsu subsidiary paid 550,000 yen to a PR firm owned by Kyoto News after Kyoto News reported positively about a drug Dentsu represents. The Chronicle did exhaustive reporting to nail down the story.
なんていうんですかね、全国の加盟市に配信しますと、配信するんだったらいくらいくらって電通の方からね来るっていう話はありましたよ。
配信するんだったらってことね。
配信されるんだったらいくらいくらって。
そもそも僕らが成功報酬として取る金額が、1配信あたり150万とか、売引ぐらいの金額なんです。そこに払う。
KK 共同にですね、株式会社に、55万円払われている。
だからそういったぐるぐるっとよくわからない中でギリギリっと来てるところがやっぱりあるんですよ。
自覚しなければおかしいし、自覚しててやってれば犯罪じゃないか。反倫理を超えてもう犯罪的じゃね、薬の問題は。それに聞かれてもそれに尽きるな、もう。それは共同の責任者に会ってあんたの調べたものを突きつけたことはあるの？
失礼します。
これするとやっぱりじゃあバイヤーの宣伝になりますよね、明らかにね。なるほどね。やっぱり商売人はすごいな。医学会長として困るとして、僕は できれば理事長を辞めさせてくれっていうことをこの会社に正式に言うとしょうがないね。日本医学会長の高久ですけども、ちょっとお聞きしたいことがあるんで、この携帯に電話してください。今留守にしてるから留守電で。それでいやいろんなことありますな。
To do this kind of deep reporting, the Waseda Chronicle crowdfunds its projects. It hopes to become sustainable in the model of ProPublica, the Pulitzer Prize-winning nonprofit newsroom based in New York. And just last month, it signed a collaboration agreement with Korea's Newstapa, the first investigative reporting nonprofit in Northeast Asia. The Chronicle also serves as a training ground for students at the Institute. They use skills they've learned from Watanabe and Institute Director Tatsuro Hanada. That includes traditional investigative techniques and also data-driven digital reporting, all independent of Japan's Kaisha Club system. For their work advancing the principles of a free and open press and training a new generation of investigative journalists, the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan is pleased to honor this year's...
Okay, sorry, this is a different one.
Takashi Tachiba.
Thank you. Could the winners please come up? Sorry, could the winners please come up to the stage? Thank you very much.
Mr. Watanabe.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Makoto Watanabe. I'm an editor-in-chief of Waseda Chronicle. I'm not so good at English, so from now on, in Japanese.
じゃあこれから日本語でお願いいたします。
報道の自由推進賞ということでいただいたんですけども、ただ本当に報道の自由を推進したのかなということは非常に疑問に思っています。
Although we've received a Freedom of the Press award, I want to let you know that I'm puzzled whether in fact we've been successful in promoting freedom of the press.
吉村君が受賞した朝日新聞の森友学院と違ってですね、今回、電通と製薬会社をテーマにした、我々の、調査報道レポートは、主要の、規制メディアは全く報じません。
Quite different from the award that you just heard about with regard to the school in Osaka. Our investigative journalism with regard to the practices by Dentsu and Kyodo News did not receive wide coverage at all.
なので今回特派員協会からですねこういった賞をいただいたのは非常に励みになりますし、やっと味方が現れてくれたかという感じですごく嬉しいです。
As a result, I'm very, very pleased because by being recognized by the Foreign Correspondents Club in support of freedom of the press, we feel encouraged and want to continue the work that we've been doing.
ただ甘えてはいけないと思うのは、報道の自由は日本にはあります。あります。
I don't want to give the wrong impression. We do indeed have freedom of the press in Japan.
誰も逮捕されないし殺されることもありません。
Journalists are not being locked up for their stories, nor are they being disappeared or killed for their stories.
それでも、こういった賞があってですね、わざわざいただけるというのは我々が不甲斐ない結果だと思っています。
Under those circumstances, to be receiving recognition and in support of the freedom of the press, we really cannot express our appreciation enough.
まだまだですね、いろんな財政基盤を含めて、早稲田クロニクルはこれからスタートしたばかりですが、ぜひこれからも応援のよろしくお願いします。
We've only begun our activities a couple of years ago. We feel that we're just at the starting point, but we are encouraged and really want to continue our efforts. Thanks to your encouragement.
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございます。
Dear President Azali, and dear colleagues and friends, I would like to express to FCCJ my deepest gratitude for presenting us this award. The fact itself that FCCJ will award the Waseda Chronicle and the Institute for Journalism at Waseda University has me a special value because the Waseda Chronicle, a university-based non-profit investigative newsroom, is now struggling in the Galapagos-like landscape of media and journalism in this country to try to go out and try to go beyond this situation, looking forward to joining the global movement of investigative journalism today. At the moment, the Waseda Chronicle is a solo runner on the track without accompaniment of any other Japanese media and journalists. But this award of FCCJ shows us that we are not isolated and that our activity has been watched very carefully and judged as positive by foreign correspondents working in Japan. And we are not isolated because a certain part of citizen of civil society in this country is supporting us through donation and encouraging message. Today is September 11. This is a coincidence. We have another September 11 than what happened in New York 16 years ago. 3 years ago today, the Asahi Shimbun's president, Mr. Tadakazu Kimura, gave a press conference where he retracted a major investigative story about Fukushima Daiichi plant under the pressure of conservative forces and apologized. The journalists responsible for the story were punished. 3 months later, exactly in this room, I gave a press conference with other two persons together to protest against retracting the major story and punishing the investigative journalists. President Azari moderated the press conference at that time. I would say that the birth of Waseda Chronicle is a consequence from that suppression of investigative journalists who left Asahi after. This project promoting watchdog journalism is a kind of response to the Japan report on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression, written by the Special Rapporteur of the Human Rights Council of UN, Professor David Kay. In the report, he recommended Japanese journalists to promote independent reporting. Our journey toward journalism innovation has just begun. I'm sure that this journey should be hard, but the Waseda Chronicle will never give up, standing on the common ground of international collaborations within journalist community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our last Freedom of the Press Award for the night is the Lifetime Achievement Award. And for that, I'd like to hand it over to Freedom of Press Committee member Bradley Martin.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I got here 40 years ago for the Baltimore Sun. I wasn't quite in time for the biggest news that ever hit this club. In fact, I was 3 years late. But my then colleague, Hideko Takayama over there, helped me figure out what was going on. And everywhere I went, people were still talking about that news. And that news was the biggest press conference we've ever had in this club when Kakue Tanaka was asked about the reporting by our friend Tachibana-san here and his colleague in the Bungei Shunju. And he listened to a few questions, and he finally got disgusted. The Prime Minister got disgusted and got up and left. And 6 weeks later, he resigned. So we have tonight the reporter who may have started the investigative reporting movement that we are now celebrating with these other awards tonight. You can trace it all back to his Bungei Shunju, 61 pages. Is that correct, Tachibana-san? All right, counting what is his now deceased colleague, they put together 61 pages, and it was a pretty devastating piece of work. I'm a personal friend of Tachibana-san, and I think you're going to enjoy seeing aspects of his life here. I've got to know him actually first under the tracks here in Yurakucho at a yakitoriya, which is probably still there, right? And anyway, let us watch this video, and you can see that he took this opportunity of how his first investigative project, his first big project, took off and had a life of its own. He took this opportunity and went on to have an incredible career that he is still enjoying, and readers here in Japan are still enjoying 43 years later. So let's watch the video.
Takashi Tachibana was born in Nagasaki in 1940. He attended school in Mito City, then went to Tokyo University, where he studied French literature and wrote freelance articles. Afterward, he briefly ran a bar in Golden Gai before selling it to travel across Europe and the Middle East. When he returned, he resumed freelancing, and his career really took off. He led a team of 20 journalists on an exhaustive investigation that exposed corruption by Prime Minister Kakue Tanaka, one of Japan's most powerful post-war leaders. Time magazine called the 61-page expose a devastating chronicle of Tanaka's financial dealings through dummy corporations, secret bank accounts, incomplete tax statements, and the use of vast amounts of money to buy support within the LDP. Other members of the Japanese press were slow to pick up the story, though. As Newsweek reported, no establishment journalist would touch it. They had all been pressured or had too much to lose. That all changed 2 weeks after Tachibana's story broke, when the Prime Minister appeared at a press conference at the FCCJ. Foreign reporters picked up on Tachibana's reporting and grilled the Prime Minister, who became so enraged he walked out. For the next few weeks, Tanaka tried to weather the scandal, and even welcomed President Gerald Ford, the first American president to visit Japan. But by then, Japanese media had begun publishing critical editorials, and the Diet opened a public inquiry. And 6 weeks after Tachibana's story was published, the Prime Minister announced he would resign. Tachibana and his partner Tayaka Kodama became known as the Woodward and Bernstein of Japan, and Tachibana acknowledged an inspirational debt to investigative journalists abroad. In 1978, he wrote Travels to Think About Journalism, in which he interviewed well-known journalists, including David Halberstam. And as evidenced by his packed packed bookshelves, he went on to publish around 100 more books on subjects as wide-ranging as space travel, brain death, and the Japanese Communist Party. He also continued to report at home and abroad, covering stories in Paraguay and Mongolia, among other places. And Tachibana continues to do important work. Just this year, he published an interview with Tokyo Governor Yuriku Koike called Declaration of War Against the LDP. For his unflinching investigative work and a career advancing the principles of a free press, the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan is pleased to honor this year's Freedom of Press Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Takashi Tachibana.
Now, Tachibana-san, I think you just do not want to make a speech, but we have Gebhard Hilscher here, who will come up and talk a little bit about that great press conference where he was sitting at the head table as the club's vice president. And then we will present you your award after we hear from Gebhard, okay?
Thank you. I was only the second vice president. There was a first one, Bella Elias, and there was a great difference between us in that sense that Bella Elias, a Hungarian, came from a communist country in those days, and the world was still divided, and his command of English wasn't all that beautiful, so he had some trouble, and some of his expressions in presenting Mr. Tanaka sounded very critical. But actually, criticizing Mr. Tanaka was a very legitimate thing, but not necessarily in the same words as he did. So in that sense, shall we say, there developed a sense of, oh, did we really treat him properly or not? But the actual questioning, all the questions that were asked in a very polite way and in a very, very, very legitimate. But the introduction by Bella Elias was somewhat problematical. But because in those days, when a communist country was still a very different part of the world in Japan, they didn't, the Foreign Office, who wanted to protest and protested to the club, they didn't want to call the one they really wanted to protest, Mr. Bella Elias, because he was from a communist country. So they called me because I was the other one. And also sitting at that table, and then they started to say, well, it was very improper treatment, that we made all these critical aspects about the Prime Minister, and this was not appropriate treatment for a Prime Minister. So I said, well, I can see that you have some reasons maybe to complain about the introduction given by the moderator of that day, Mr. Bella Elias, but you didn't call Mr. Elias, you called me instead, and I was not in charge of the introduction, but it so happened that Mr. Tanaka was getting more, shall we say, impatient with each question asked, and so happened that it was my question that was, when he said to his advisor who was standing there, Moidis, it's enough, I've had enough, and got up and broke up the lunch in the middle and disappeared. So that's why they called me. But I said to them, well, in terms of the questions, they were all very legitimate. The substance was well researched, and if they want to protest the introductory remarks, they should do it with him. I have nothing to apologize about because all the questions were perfectly legitimate, and they were all courteously, you can read the protocol if you want to. They were all courteously asked. I still remember, I said, well, I didn't even ask directly about the items, but I said, I have heard various reports that you have tried to make a sort of movement that would block the sale of the issue, what was the October issue of the Bunge Shunju monthly, no, not Shunju, the Bunge, yeah, the Bunge Shunju, of the monthly of October, etc. And this, in that sense, the, if you want to, and you tried, apparently, you was, I'm sorry, there were reports that you have tried to block the sale of this magazine's issue. And is that correct, or what do you say to that? And then he just said, well, it's enough, I want to go home. So in that sense, as far as I'm concerned, here we have the man who created the attention at that time and did a lot of research, he and others, and he presented us with the occasion to get the government to accept the invitation for the Prime Minister to come for whatever reason or for whatever calculation. And so he came here, which we don't have all the time. And of course, there were some people who were so disgusted by what Mr. Tanaka was apparently proven to have done, and the others were disgusted by how directly we spoke about these. But it was all in a very legitimate way. So I personally did not accept the protest as such. I just said, okay, I'm sorry for some of the remarks in the introduction, but not for the actual main story. So in that sense, it was a very legitimate press event, and the questions were legitimate, and they were asked in a polite way, no reason to accept the protests. Bye-bye. That was it, and I think there is plenty of reason. There's plenty of reason to give this award. It's look here to our wonderful colleague who gave us this opportunity, and we tried to make the best possible use of it. And in a way that is still a topic today, I think we can be very satisfied and congratulate you.
Thank you.
I don't only give you the prize, so to speak, but also my hand and also the microphone, so you can then answer what you want to say. Thank you.
I also not so good at English, so mainly I speak in Japanese. So Hideko-san, could you, or somebody people.
I don't speak English.
まあ、大変な賞をいただいて今日は僕は実はこんな賞が出るからという話は数日前聞いたんですがなんかスピーチする必要があるのかという質問をしたら何もしなくていいと来て座って酒飲んであとは帰ればいいというそういう話を受けたので
When I learned about this award, I asked whether, and I'm honored, deeply honored to receive this award, but when I learned about the award, I asked whether I would need to prepare some kind of a speech. And I was told, no, just show up drink some alcohol with us, and it'll be over, and then you can leave. And here we are.
I just gave you the microphone if you wanted to say thank you, okay?
Yeah, just a moment. 簡単にあの前後の経緯を述べますと、先ほど紹介の中にあった60ページですか、そういうアーティクル、かなり長いアーティクルを書いたわけです。だけれども日本のメディアはそれをほとんど完全に無視したんです。
I want to give a little bit of a background to the events of those momentous events. We did indeed write that 60-some page article and researched it very carefully. But I want to say that the Japanese mass media completely ignored it, would not cover it.
あれは日本語のタイトルで言うと、田中角栄その金脈と人脈というタイトルなんです。だから具体的には彼がいかにして金をいかに作って、それをいかにばらまいて、それをいかに金の権力に結びつけたかというそういう解説記事です。
The article itself was entitled Tanaka Kakue, the ability to move money and make connections. And indeed, what we described was the manner in which he could amass and utilize and target an enormous flow of money.
今日そのインベスティゲーティブリポーティングという、話がいろいろ出ましたけれども、日本においてはインベスティゲーティブリポーティングにあたる言葉はありませんでした。つまり我々が時書いたような月刊誌の61ページの記事に当たるようなタイプのリポーティングっていうのは日本のメディアの中には存在しなかったんです。
We've heard a lot this evening about investigative journalism, but I want to say that when we wrote that 61-page article, there was no concept or vocabulary in Japanese to describe investigative journalism. It was not a category that existed in Japan at that time.
だからそういう意味では日本のインベスティゲーティブリポーティングにあたる言葉は、日本語であるともないとも言えるんですが、それ的なものはそもそも存在しなかったわけです。
And we can say that that whole category simply didn't exist at that time.
で事実として一つのレポートを出したわけですね。それでそれを読めば田中角栄という非常に得意な人物の政治力がいかにお金とそのお金を通じたこのなんていうか日本社会全体に対する影響力を作ることにおいてそれが出来上がっていったかというそのサクセスストーリーそのものに61ページの記事はなってるわけです。
What we did is go into great enormous detail that in reading that you would understand how this politician was a master at moving enormous amounts of money and accomplishing and influencing things through the use of that money. And we were able to sorry, the English didn't come. We were able to really bring that to light.
それで先ほど言いましたようにそれは雑誌では60ページの記事として出されたけれども日本の主要なメディアはテレビも新聞も全てそれを無視したんです。
Although we came out with that extensive piece, 61-page article, all of the mainstream Japanese media, the newspapers, the televisions, completely ignored and did not cover that story.
その状況をひっくり返したのはですね、日本にいた外人記者の何人かです。それで、最初はそれは具体的に言うとニューズウィークの記者とそれからワシントンポストの記者と確か3人ぐらいの記者が僕のところに取材に来てなんか最近面白いことを書いたらしいけどみたいな質問をしてそれを彼らのメディアつまりニューズウィークとかワシントンポストとかそういう向こうのメディアの記事として書いたわけです。それでも日本のあれは 当初は無視したんです。
What turned that news blackout totally upside down was the reportage of the foreign correspondents. 3 came and interviewed me, saying, "You've written something very interesting. Tell us more." Newsweek, Washington Post, and one other came to me and asked me for more details about what we had been able to report. And it was the reporting of that overseas that broke the story, essentially, back into the media here.
その状況をひっくり返したのがこの FCCJ の昼食会に田中角栄を呼んでそこの席上田中角栄を紹介するのにその時の昼社さんほか何人かの記者がいるんですがその人たちがその席上で最近文藝春秋に発表されたこの記事のここは本当か嘘かみたいな当然よその国であればプレスコンファレンスで必ずいろんな記者が聞くであろうような質問をストレートにぶつけたんですね。でそれは日本のカルチャーにはなかったんです。
What would be normal in any other country for that kind of news to have been out, it would have been the grist for a news conference and the series of questions that would have been asked of the Prime Minister. That news culture did not exist in Japan, and it was the fact that the Prime Minister was brought to this club and foreign correspondents asked the questions that had to be asked based on the Bunge Shinju article that turned the entire, that broke the story more broadly.
その西洋のカルチャーではプレスコンファレンスというのはこういうものだという常識的な世界が時初めて日本のメディアの中にそういう形で出現したんです。でその日本の記者たちも何か機会があればことを書こうと思ってたところにこの FCCJ のプレスコンファレンスがあってそこで田中角栄が次々そういう質問をぶつけられて立ち往生するという絶好の機会があったもんでそれを契機に一挙に田中角栄批判僕が書いたその記事を初めて日本のメディアが次々に全部紹介するということが一挙に起きたわけです。
What was common culture overseas, to be able to ask those tough questions, was not part of the news culture, as I said earlier, but the perfect opportunity came up for the Japanese journalists who had wanted to ask those tough questions, came and saw it in practice at this Foreign Correspondents Club, and that broke the dam, and they were able to then address those kinds of questions immediately thereafter in a way that this became the opportunity for us to have that kind of an impact on journalism in Japan.
というわけで私今日はこういう賞をいただきましたけれどもその賞を与えられるべきは時のこの FCCJ のプレスコンファレンスそのものだったろうと思ってます。そしてそれによって日本のメディアのカルチャーが本当に根本的に変わったというそういう歴史的事実に対して賞を与えられたものと思ってありがとうございますと。
Although I've received this prize, I want to say that it's actually those who at this Correspondents Club put on that press conference who should be receiving the prize. It was an event that changed journalism in Japan, and I want to thank them and thank you for the prize that I've received this evening.
Thank you very much. That was such a nice way to end the Freedom of the Press section of the award ceremony and move into the scholarship, the next generation of journalists. But before we go, could we just raise a glass to all the winners of the Freedom of the Press Awards? Thank you very much again, all three of you. Come high. That's all I can do. Okay, so yeah, let's just keep going. Okay, so we're going to just move into the scholarship awards, and for that, I would like to hand it over to Anthony Rowley, who's our first VP and is going to introduce the category.
Thanks.
Hello everyone, Anthony Rowley, first Vice President. I'd just like to say that at the time of the Tanaka Kakaue scandal, I was the business editor of the Far Eastern Economic Review in Hong Kong, and it certainly was a big story for us and for the region, so thank you for breaking the story. Okay, well, I've come here to talk about the Scholarship Fund. We've been honouring this evening quite properly people who uphold the freedom of the press. It's a very important function of this club to do that. But another very important function of this club is to encourage young journalists to become journalists and to excel in their profession. And when I say encourage, I don't just mean, give them encouraging words. I mean tangible encouragement. And I think that's exactly what the Swadesh DeRoy Scholarship Awards allows us to do. I'll just say a little bit about the scheme before we move into the awards. Back in 1970, which was the 25th anniversary of this club, the journalist members of this club decided to set up a scholarship with the purpose of encouraging and supporting university students in Japan who are interested in a career in journalism. The awards, it's intended to help students further their journalistic pursuits and is supposed to be used for such things as taking language courses, traveling, purchasing computer equipment or books, or covering their living expenses during a journalism internship. Our distinguished member, the late Swadesh DeRoy, was an Indian journalist. He was chairman of the scholarship committee in its early days, and he contributed both his personal effort and his personal finance towards making the awards possible. Swadesh DeRoy, whom many of us, including myself, remember with affection, was born in Bengal, in then British colonial India, and passed away in 2001. The club decided to honour his contribution by naming the Scholarship Awards after him. Thanks to the generosity of Swadesh DeRoy and others, we're able to offer quite generous prizes to the winners of these awards. The Pen Prize is 300,000 yen, Sanjuman, and so is the photo prize, and so also is the video prize. The topic of the competition this year has been youth trends in a changing Japan. For example, entrants were asked to look at themes like the changing role and empowerment of women, the role of Japanese youth in voluntary non-profit activities, community affairs or social change, and also the involvement of young people in entrepreneurial ventures. So let me not hold things up any further. I know the winners, you're all anxious to meet the winners, and the winners are anxious to receive their prizes, so I'm going to hand back to Abby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, so I'm just going to give a brief summary of each awardee's submission, and then I'll call them up. So the first one, we're going to do the Pen Award, which is the written award. And this one, actually, we had 2 first prize winners. We had a lot of really great submissions, and the 2 top ones were really wonderful. So first is Trishik Banerjee of Tohoku University, who is actually pursuing a career in biomedical research, but also has an interest in journalism and is a really wonderful writer. So he entered a really thoughtful, well-researched, and actually sort of sobering piece about youth in Japan and the challenges to entrepreneurship and societal change. And he spoke to a lot of students, which was great. We loved all the voices in the piece. And he also had sort of the academic research to back up what he was saying through those narratives. So, and he also gave it, he did some really nice photographs, even though this wasn't in the photo category. So that was great. So we were very impressed by it. The judges were very impressed, and also impressed by what he planned to do with the award money, which is to create a student media group across universities covering youth issues in Japan, which seems like a great thing that our club should support. So we were happy to hear that he plans to do that in collaboration with the Sentinel at Tohoku University. And then our other first prize winner was Jennifer Lisa Wooden of Keio University, and she had a really wonderful and also very well-written piece about women in Japan's workforce, which is just a wonderful topic, and we were happy to be able to honor it. And she not only had some great research, but some clear examples of solutions-based approaches, which is a great thing in journalism, to sort of look at what's working. So we appreciated that. Also beautifully laid out graphically, and we are happy to be able to help her. She pursues a career as a woman in journalism. So we hope that that helps you as well. So I'd like to invite both of you up now. Thank you very much for your submissions. They were both really well done. Thank you. And would you both like to give brief remarks? Okay, so.
Stand up.
Great, so I'm going to hand it to you first, and then you want to hand it to Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not actually used to delivering such kind of acceptance speeches, but first of all, I would really like to thank FCCJ for considering me credible enough for this award, and standing amongst these stalwarts of Japanese journalism and my other co-winners. It's actually more like a dream come true for me. This award has been actually named after an Indian, and I'm coming from India, so it's actually like a homecoming for me. But this evening is actually a celebration of the spirit of journalism, and I think that media, it's an extremely powerful tool as a check and balance system for both the administration and the society. So when I wrote this submission, and it was actually a culmination of my 2 years of conversations with young Japanese and international students across Japan, I realized that there are systemic failures but immense potential in this country. And there were challenges. The universities did not want to talk about any challenges. And so it was social media which came to my rescue at that time. So it was that time I realized that whatever money, if in case I won this award, I would like to use this money in actually creating spaces for debate and discussion in the campuses across Japan through an active student media. And I guess after all, dissent is the purest form of patriotism. And well, I mean, there is a joke, well, if you're not part of the solution, you're a newspaper columnist. But then I surely believe that I want to dedicate this award to all the fearless journalists out there, especially people who have been honored tonight. And back in my country, Gauri Lankesh, who had been murdered last week for writing against the establishment. So I think this freedom of press is extremely important in the polarized times that we share. So thank you so much again. I've been really honored. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Lisa Wooden from Keio University. I am very honored to have received this award, and I can't believe I am standing here because when I first came to FCCJ, when I was like this tall, and I came here with my parents and ate apple pie and rum curry in the club. And thank you very much for the committee for giving me this chance. And I am very happy that this topic was selected because I owe a lot to Ms. Aki Higuchi, who is right there, the founder of Salon Inc., who gave me the inspiration throughout the interview. The message I delivered in this article was inspired by the experience I had during my job hunting times. I encountered the fact that while male students target a career positions, while female students reluctantly avoid positions that will lead them to management roles in the future, even though their educational backgrounds are very good. I wondered, does pursuing career and raising children at the same time seem a big challenge for female students, from a female student's perspective as well? One fact I thought that is identical in Japan is that in Japanese culture, there is a strong conception that females have unspoken pressure to raise children by themselves. They always face priority problems. And to this, I introduced in my article a young entrepreneur who had cut into this cultural barrier and offered added value services. Ms. Aki Higuchi, CEO of Salon Inc., started a service that does not substitute the lacking role of mother, but offers role models for kids and global education. Having worked with Ms. Higuchi, I was able to observe many working women. This experience inspired me to work to help the cause of women in business. Using my studies from Keio University Economics Department, my dream is to become a business and finance-related journalist. I will start my career at a local broadcasting station as a TV newscaster next April. So before that, I wish to use my scholarship money to experience the dynamic business hub in the world. I am searching for a place right now to work as an internship for journalism and observe women in business at the same time. Thank you very much again for the committee, and I promise that I will make the most of my money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I should also mention we have a second prize winner in this category who can't be here tonight, Marina Yoshimura of Waseda University, actually, who's a visiting scholar at Yale. So I'll take hers on her behalf. We'll make sure this gets to her. It's not turned on. Okay. Okay, so the next category is the video category. And I'm sorry that we can't show you, but it was a really beautiful entry that we got from Win Chi Long from Tohoku University, who is actually also a medical doctor. We have some very accomplished people here tonight. And his entry was both gorgeous cinematically, and it also, he did a really nice job of layering sort of narration over the picture in a very seamless way, and we were all very impressed by the production, the high production quality, especially by Doctor. But it was great. It was very nice, and it introduced a Japanese cultural event to a foreign audience, which is also a really important thing that foreign journalists in Japan can do to sort of bring the beauty of Japan to non-Japanese speakers and to non-Japanese. So we appreciated that. So he has said he plans to put the award money towards a documentary on the Tohoku region that would promote it to tourists. So again, we liked hearing about what he was going to do and thought that was a great idea. So I would like to call him up now to receive his award. Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations. Yeah.
I think it's very big honors for me to stand here today, because my major is not journalism, and this scholarship is all about journalism. But I want to say about my story. When I 3 years ago, when I first came to Tohoku region of Japan, I was so surprised about the beauty of this place here, and also the people here is really friendly, and I really can feel the real Japanese culture, especially here, because I travel all around Japan, but especially in Tohoku region, I really feel very special thing that I never experienced before, and we know that in the Tohoku region, they are suffer for the very big earthquake before. And for example, when I told everyone about when I came to Sendai, and people Google about Sendai, on the picture on the Google just display about the earthquake and tsunami. So I want to use my talent of videography to introduce people how Tohoku life is going on now, and how the beauty and how Japanese culture is here is beautiful. And I think it really successful, because like most of my friends saw the photo, and when they came to Japan, they immediately go to Tohoku region first. Yeah, so I'm really happy about that, and I think it's just small action, but I think it really can help to connect Tohoku region with my international friends all around the world. Yeah, so I will use that money to keep doing my good work to promote the beautiful image of Tohoku region to international friends. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so, and then our last award is the photography category. And this one, we also had some great entries, so we have a tie for first place. So the first one, Nonoku Aida of Chuo University, and this was a really interesting project. She and a group of students documented cenotaphs created by Japanese to show gratitude for US soldiers after World War II. And the primary photo that she entered was very well composed and sort of conveyed the somber emotion of the occasion very well. So it was just a nice example of straightforward documentary photography about an interesting subject that I actually had never heard of, so I thought that was great. And this group plans to use the award winnings to continue their project and with the aim of publishing a book, which is wonderful. And then they were tied with Fuad, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, Fawad Ikwanda of Tohoku University, who entered what the judges called an interesting and varied portfolio with a strong point of view, and that he made good use of available light and was very expressive work overall. This was a completely different project, and it was sort of Tokyo at night, and it was very sort of edgy, and it was sort of the opposite of the perfect documentary photo we saw in the first one, and we just liked the combination of the two. We thought it was really, they complemented each other nicely. So could you please both come up and receive your awards? Congratulations. Do you want to speak first? Do you want to speak in Japanese? Okay. Thank you.
はじめまして、ご紹介に預かりました中央大学3年の間野々香と申します。
I'm pleased to be introduced. I'm from
Chuo
University, and you have my name in front of you.
ありがとうございます。昨年私たちは、私のゼミの学生と一緒に日本各地を回って、戦時中に日本に墜落した米軍爆撃機 B29 の搭乗員、亡くなった搭乗員を祀っている慰霊碑を巡ってきました。
Together with my classmates, last year we traveled the length and breadth of Japan to visit the cenotaphs that had been erected in memory of particularly the B-29 bombing crews that had been shot down and had during the war and had perished. Most of them had perished here in Japan.
調査をしようと思ったきっかけなんですが、なぜ日本人はかつて敵兵だった、米兵を弔うのか、そういう疑問がきっかけで調査を開始しました。
The reason that we embarked on that study was to try to understand the sentiments of the Japanese people to erect cenotaphs and memorialize the bombers, the bombing crews of a country that had been at war and an enemy of Japan's.
昨年は1年間を通して、ゼミ生と手分けをして日本全国14カ所を、回りました。その中で分かったことは、いまだに大々的に慰霊祭が行われているところもあれば、近隣の住民ですらそこに B29 が墜落したことを知らない、そういう場所がありまして、いまだに弔う人もいれば忘れ去られている慰霊碑もあるということが分かりました。
In our journey to 14 locations throughout Japan, we discovered that in a number of those places there is still an annual memorialization of the crews of those downed B-29 bombers. But there are also many who have not been aware in their own neighborhood that such an event took place. And so there is the memorialization on the one hand and the forgetting on the other hand.
ただその多くに共通していたのは、戦争が終わったのだから敵も味方も関係ないと、一人の人間として亡くなった兵士を弔いたい、そういう方が多くいらっしゃいました。
But the sentiment that we encountered throughout the country was a very clear-cut sentiment that with the ending of the war, it's no longer a war, it is individual humans who perished. And we need to memorialize those individuals, not as enemies or as those of our own.
私たちは昨年回った14カ所をおのおのレポートにまとめて一冊の本として出版しました。
We were able to collate the stories from our visits to those 14 locations and interviews and photographs, and we have published a book based on our study last year.
ただ今分かっている限りで全国に30カ所以上の慰霊碑があると言われています。まだ半分しか巡ることができていないので、今回いただいた奨学金を使って残りの慰霊碑も巡ってもう一度一冊の本にまとめたいと考えています。今日はありがとうございました。
We've become aware that indeed there are more than 30 locations and cenotaphs across the country. And so our first volume in our study over the past year, covered barely half of those. And what we would like to do is to make good use of the funds that you all have kindly provided us with this award, to be able to visit the remaining sites and to publish a second volume that would describe those remaining sites as well. I want to thank you very, very much for the award this evening.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Fuadi Honda from Tohoku University. I'm right now currently studying mechanical engineering actually, and I'm part of photography club of my university. And in these words, my photograph is about the foreigners live in Sendai after the great East Japan earthquakes. So as I came from Indonesia, and I also experienced a lot of earthquakes, where my hometown in Sumatra hit by earthquake in 2004 and 2009, and the recovery stage after that earthquake is really important. So in this words, I introduce how the foreigners adapt to the Japanese community after those earthquake happenings. So in my subject was my friends who his name is Ethiel. He came from Australia to Japan teaching the elementary school student English, and also actively organizing a church. And he has kind of like, his hobby is playing BMX bike and explore the city at night. So I just documenting what he did and how he gathered with his friends, Japanese friends and foreigners friends that he found from the social media. So the most important things that help him is the Facebook and Twitter, where he can gather a lot of people and do the what he likes together. So that was the main thing in my work. And for the scholarship money, actually interesting for me in this year, I exposed to the journalism community. And the first thing that this year, as a part of my photography club activity, I covered the Japanese high school baseball tournament, and my photo gets published by Asahi Shimbun in their website. So it was, I'm really proud of it. And now the second thing, so I got this prestigious award from FCCG about the journalism, and I'm thinking to continue my work in journalism in the future. So the money I will use it to fund my future projects. The first thing that came to my mind is I want to use it to buy a new equipment like video camera, but it was just the first thing, like maybe the worst thing that I can do. So one other project that I want to pursue is I want to cover a small village in Iwate Prefecture. I went there. It is called Fudaimura, and it was destroyed by tsunami in 2011, and now they are recovering. So maybe I will try to use this money to fund these projects, because one special thing about Fudaimura is the food is delicious there, the fish is delicious, and it is the hometown of my favorite baseball players. So it's called Ginji from Rakuten Eagles, and I like him very much. I want to kind of combine this aspect and work for my future projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to hear from the students after we heard from all the professional journalists and know that journalism is in good hands, hopefully, with the next generation. You know, and the freedom of press, as we've established tonight, it's no guarantees. So reporters and journalists are out there defending it, and it's great to, you know, see the example set by Tachibana-san and sort of passed down to the next generation. So it was really great to have you all here. I would just like to hand it over to our president for a few closing remarks, but thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Abby. It was a great event. I'm very glad that we provided some chance for all those defending journalism and freedom of press to come here and tell us their stories about the past and about the present and about the future. And I would like here to mention about a very absent, very important absent journalist. He's Mr. Jumbi Yasuda. He is now captured in Syria. And he is actually, according to my information, he's captured not because he's a journalist, although he's been there to cover stories about issues and disaster and the catastrophe there. I helped, because I speak Arabic, I helped some Japanese magazine and newspaper to conduct interview with some mediators of his, those who kidnapped him. And the message was they wanted $3 to $4 million to release him. So it's not really about the freedom of press, not about to prevent information, it's just kidnapping for money. That's all issue there. And that's really very sad. And he's still, I think, resisting. And we hope he comes back safe and sound to Japan and he comes to our club. I actually moderated an event. He was a speaker at our club a long time ago, maybe a few years ago, and I'm sure he will come back, I hope so, and tell us about his story and how freedom of press is very important for everybody. I think this will wrap up our event today. I hope everybody will go back home and think about the next story to make, not only for the freedom of press, but also to survive, because our profession is very important and we are facing a lot of challenges to maintain this important profession. Thank you very much again for coming and have a nice evening. Thank you.